When something like this mass shooting happens, it can really impact people's mental health.
Yes, it can. It can especially be hard on our kids. So we brought in child psychologist Dr. Sarah Williams. And first of all, thank you so much for joining us on short notice. And of course, I should say that these Williams folks are not related. But
You never know.
yeah, you never know. You know, as we begin this, I think that the thing that struck me was, at what age do you start talking to kids and explaining to them when these kinds of tragedies happen around them? When is it age appropriate?
Unfortunately, because of the recent events, I would say that you can start having that conversation as early as 2 or 3 years old, so that children understand the dynamics of what violence is, the difference between fear and safety, and to whom to connect in order to feel protected.
All right, so there's going to be like tons of coverage just wall to wall on the news. Should you be shielding your kids from the news right now?
I absolutely think there should be a filter. I think that there needs to be a designated time and place for those types of discussions. I think there can be an over-processing and overstimulation if children are exposed to a large extent, because their brain just cannot conceptualize what is actually happening. So it is important for parents to kind of use that parental barometer and kind of determine how much is appropriate and when they should have that discussion. It shouldn't be maybe in a car on the way to school, at breakfast. Where it needs to be at a time where the family can have a long discussion and answer questions to meet those questions and needs.
When they're very, very young, I guess there has to be a way to introduce that information without frightening them. So do you tell them a story, or how do you introduce that kind of information to a little one?
That's exactly what I would recommend. There's a process in play therapy known as social stories, and you actually create a social story or a story that encompasses or includes the name of the child, the important people in their life, their animals, and you create the story so that it has a positive ending, so that it allows children to understand what resiliency is and to kind of be able to conceptualize what is occurring and that there is a safe place for them.
Quickly, what do you do if your kid doesn't want to go to school?
First and foremost, we cannot blame them. And also we can have a process where they can take something with them to school and they have a open dialogue with the teacher, maybe have a special code word and say, this is the word that I use if I need to go to see the school counselor. Or this is the word I use if I need to call mom or dad to feel that security.
You know, it's wonderful to have these kinds of tools to deal with the kids, because I'm sure so many parents are scratching their heads saying, how do I process this with my family? So thank you so much for joining us and giving us that information to help in the healing process.
Yes, thank you.
Now, if you're struggling right now, we do have mental health resources up right now on our website on WTKR.com.
And other news.